It is Saturday the 26th of the 4th, 2025. The time is 4 minutes past 8. You know what that means? Happy King's Day to all the Netherlands contingent. I hope you're having a fantastic one and a couple of cheeky bevies. Although that also means that there is F1 news and F1 centric threads at which we need to pull each and every single time. We'll talk about Luca Montezemolo and some of his comments being very scathing about one Sir Lewis, Carl, Davidson, Hamilton. So too Charles Leclerc singing from a very different hymn sheet. We'll talk about the unused parts and upgrades at McLaren and what that means as far as their dominance going forward. And so too we'll talk about the chaos ensuing over at the Bulls that are red, as per usual at this stage now, between one Christian Horner, team principal of Red Bull, owner and shareholder potentially, and one Dr. Helmut, Marko, head of the Red Bull Junior program. What's going on, Joanna? What's going on, Liam? You're a legend, chap. There's stuff that we got to talk to each and every single time. We'll try and go long, notwithstanding your boys' vocal cords not being very robust as far as their durability, but I digress. Spare me your woes, Cameron. I was listening to a podcaster today, one of my favourites, and he spent half the podcast talking about his travails. I cannot, no, I will not do that. Not now, not ever. Let's talk about McLaren, because the race have written a brilliant article in that they talked about the aspect. Now, we know McLaren have come far a ways. They were last a couple of cycles ago, were they not? And then all of a sudden at Miami Grand Prix, the equivalent Grand Prix to what we've got next, this time last year, they rocked up and they were gonzo down the road all of a sudden at the altar of a couple notable upgrades. Then it was floor, then it was flexible front wing, and then it was a cheeky mini DRS at the rear. Last Grand Prix they expected to be super dominant, but they were not. Why did they expect to be so dominant? Well, they were bringing upgrades. It was underfloor, it was diffuser, but they tried it in FP1 on Oscar's car, FP2 on Lando's car, and it didn't work. Andrea Stella says that he doesn't want to test these bits and bobs in isolation. He wants to understand that they work in reality. So many teams in this era of ground effect car have brought these bloody halo upgrades, put them on the car, and then all of a sudden been humbled by reality. Ergo, there's been a disconnect as far as correlation between what they see and data in the CFD and the wind tunnel, and then what they see on track. This has been the problem, the multitudinous problems of Red Bull now. They've told us that they have this antiquated wartime wind tunnel. And when they bring these brand new sexy parts that are meant to bring drivability and downforce points in absolute terms to the RB21, all of a sudden they plug it on the car and the car becomes undrivable. A downgrade, therefore. Andrea Stella's told us that he desperately even doesn't want to do that. So when they tested it, got the feedback from the drivers and said that it wouldn't work. Ergo, the next time that they bring upgrades will potentially be at Imola, Miami, for the avoidance of doubt, being a sprint race. Here's what Andrea Stella said about the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And I'm digging up old bones, but it's important to understand history if McLaren don't want to repeat the mistakes of Christmas past going forward, and under the umbrella heading, of course, of their probability, stacking the odds in their favour of winning races and therefore championships. Here's what Stella said, quote, "We actually didn't use the upgrade. There's nothing in the car at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix that was new of specification. Some of the things we declared, they were test items. We tested them in practice. We didn't use them in the paid sessions." Now, the race rights. While McLaren didn't race the new diffuser in Saudi Arabia, he did finally commit to a full weekend running its low drag rear wing. This was tested in Bahrain pre-season and appeared on the car in 5-day practice at the Australian season opener. However, it's understood that McLaren considers the change to the diffuser to be a refinement rather than a big update. Listen, if there's one thing that's clear that you can take to the bank as far as Formula One, this is a preparation race, particularly in the latter stages of this rule and reg set now. If you bring an upgrade and it doesn't work, there is opportunity cost of time and preparation in that. especially when you see that the RB21 in the hands of Maximilian Verstappen are now breathing down their necks. They didn't expect Maximilian Verstappen to drop it on pole, nor did they expect during the first stint Maximilian Verstappen to be faster than the fire-breathing dragon. He is him who is becoming Oscar Piastri. And in the second stint, it was Charles Leclerc that was faster than Oscar Piastri. That makes a difference. And if you had any doubt that convergence was going to be the ongoing theme of 2025, therein lies your exhibit A, B, and C. And to that, Andrea Stella said, so I think for us the message is super clear, the evidence now abundant, the margins, says Andrea Stella, and I quote, are super tight. We need to execute race weekends in a perfect way if we want to continue this strong start of the season. Going forward, Stella continues, we definitely need to bring upgrades. We should expect it to get close. Then we should expect to see more parts on that car in Miami. Listen, this is a season, chat. I'm telling you, I read these words from Andrea Stella, Pep Guardiola of Formula One, and I cannot help but get excited. McLaren aren't a gazillion miles down the road. Now listen, at Miami, circumstance might favour them a little bit more. Cooler, warmer climbs even. Ergo, the rate at which the tyres degrade might be more than you saw at Saudi Arabia, and that would favour MCL 39, whose strength, by the way, is minimising, though mitigating for the rate at which its tyres degrade, at the altar, of course, of an ambitious anti-dive front suspension setup. Oh, and by the way, who else said this? I think it was surprised. Here we go. So McLaren talking, saying that they were really surprised of the pace, around the pace of Charles Leclerc on a second stint, just how quick. Oh, sorry, this is Karan Chanduk talking. You'll excuse me, chat. Your boy hasn't done his due diligence properly. Wayne, what's saying? Wind tunnel and track usually don't work anyway. It's true. Go on then. Here's what Karan Chanduk said on the Sky Sports F1 show. He said that during the race, first and second stint, both Oscar and Max were really pushing. The quality of driving up at the front in that first stint as well was chaos. Karan Chanduk continues, quote, I think it surprised McLaren and Oscar just how quick Max Verstappen was on that first stint in the dirty air. He was struggling to stay with him. Prosecution rests, no further questions, Your Honour. As far as the gap doing one of these between McLaren and the rest, particularly at Saudi Arabia, that's low downforce, means that I think we have a championship on our hands, particularly when it's not warmer climbs and tyre deg isn't a thing. DTM settings this weekend, Joanna, bam, let's go. 2025 versus 2026 conundrum. Well, Benzi, you got to put all your weight. Listen, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush now. Don't do what Mercedes did in 2021 and think that you're going to put all your eggs in the next year basket and then all of a sudden expect that to yield fruit. It doesn't make sense. Focus on the here and now, particularly if McLaren, all the balls that are red, and you're competing therefore for a championship of the drivers and or constructors variety. Oh, and by the way, ex-Ferrari chairman said some things about Sir Lewis, Carl Davids and Hamilton, and they are significant against the backdrop of Sir Lewis confessing that he needs to do more work, cancelling plans in real time with a view to focus on them. Therefore, here's what Luca de Montezuma said, and that's got to be significant, right? Because Luca is an ex-Ferrari chairman, a bigwig, holds water. Chris Harris said that when Luca was there at the Grand Prix the other day on the grid, all of the Ferrari bods, the engineers and the pit crew stood to the side and saluted that fella. So well respected is he. It's not lost on me then that he came out and said the following about the team. Scuderia Ferrari with that red car and the yellow badge and the black prancing horse atop. Quote, the team has been lacking leadership for years, he told Brick. Yes, the soul is missing. In the past, people worked day and night, but in the past, the company stood for passion. Oh, the humanity. What are we doing here, Luca? Bloody Nora. As if Ferrari needed any more pressure on their not insubstantial shoulders. You can hear and feel it both in what Lewis Hamilton is saying, but definitely more so in what Frederick Vasseur is saying. Lewis Hamilton is losing it. That is bull feathers, and those aren't the words that he used. I've been more clean cut than was Frederick Vasseur. Luca continued. He said that Lewis Hamilton's dream of winning the World Championship title at Ferrari will not come true. Clearly the car, and then this is Lewis talking now, clearly the car is capable of P3, so Charles did a great... Listen, that's chaos, I'm telling you. When Lewis Hamilton needed a proper and more confidence, momentum going forward, a brave pill to overcome his multitudinous travails and foibles in that SF25, he gets this from Luca Montezemolo, legendary Ferrari man, ex-Ferrari chairman. What are we doing here? Said on a gazillion occasions, look, if it's the Tifosi and it's the red car, Italy's team, the pressure cooker, whereas it was like this at Mercedes, it will be like this at Ferrari. They will spit at you in the streets. This is their team. Tifosi embodies passion, does it not? So you keep losing Frederick Vasseur, keep losing Charles Leclerc, keep losing Sir Lewis Hamilton, who they are paying through the nose for. Keep losing and see what happens. Gonna get techier than techie things. And Frederick Vasseur was the one who said, you know what, he went against what Lewis was saying and made the excuses and justifications. Here's what Frederick Vasseur had to say. It's not Sir Lewis, he's not fallen off. Perhaps it's his confidence in the car, perhaps it's his confidence with himself, also that it's because everything is new. He's explaining away Sir Lewis Hamilton's problems, and so just as well he might, bearing in mind that he's got to protect, circle the wagons around his team, shield their gaze away from all of the nonsense, the politicking, the C-suite exec level bods and the pressure that comes with them. Just like Jean Todt did many moons ago to bring in the golden era, the latest and greatest one of Scuderia Ferrari, 2000 to 2004. Oh, and by the way, if past his prologue and we're talking about success at Ferrari, understand the hill climb, the steepness of it, presenting not just to Sir Lewis but to Charles Leclerc too, even though he's en hora buena, in the finest form of his career, becoming him, learning, understanding that when he realises who he is, he won't have to dodge bullets. Shout out to Morpheus. Alain Prost tried it, failed. Alain Prost was one of the go-toest ones, by the way. Michael did it and won 5 championships, tick. But he's the exception that proves the rule, because Fernando Alonso tried it in Ferrari and fell at the final hurdle. 2012 settings came very close, but close is no cigar. Sebastian Vettel tried it. How did that work out? Kimi Raikkonen fluked it in 2007, did he not? But all the rest, Alonso, the likes of Alain Prost, Nigel Mansell tried it even early 90s. All of those bods came and tried and failed. And that tells you all you need to know, if past his prologue, about how difficult it will be for either Charles Leclerc or Sir Lewis Hamilton to contravene the assertions of ex-Ferrari chairman Luca Montezemolo. Though Charles Leclerc has this to say, and this is where it's divergent settings. Already the fractures, no fissures, are starting to show in that Ferrari team. Charles Leclerc said this: it's a long season and we shouldn't give up. All this talk about 2026 and focusing on the new rules and regs, I don't want to hear of it. Charles Leclerc continues, we very often say, let's switch to next year's car straight away. But I think these things, quote, are more and more with the new structures in Formula One, that they can go parallel with one another. That to have a good car in 2025, therefore, will lend itself to having a good car in the new rules and regs, active aero, 50-50 as far as combustion unit electric split. Charles Leclerc continues, I quote, I don't think you can be extreme in one way or the other. Ergo, focusing on 2026, therefore, is fool's gold. You need to have a quick car in 2.5 to have a quick car in 2.6. Charles Leclerc continues, so yeah, it doesn't mean that we're only focusing on this season, forgetting about next season or vice versa. We are trying to be the best, have the best of both worlds. We'll see where it leads us. At least for me, it's not really a challenge he expressed about the SF2 and its handling dynamic. I mean, I'm always motivated to extract the maximum out of my car, no matter where it brings me. Of course, you are always disappointed when you do everything perfect and optimize for your circumstance, says Charles Leclerc, and the best result that we could have achieved is P4. Couple race weekends ago, but then you go back into the car the next race. At least for me, I still have full motivation to try and do something special and to maybe win a race with a car that is less good than people around me. So that's where I find my motivation, is to try and outperform whenever I can. So motivation won't be a problem. Do you see what's happening here, chat? Do you see Do you see how orthogonal, just how orthogonal Charles Leclerc's statements are as versus Sir Lewis? At least for me, motivation won't be a problem. I want to outperform the car. I want to focus on this year because I believe I can win. Not we, I. That's important from Charles Leclerc. And I think Sir Lewis Hamilton will be reading those things, and I think he would be cheesed off ever so slightly. Oh, and by the way, if we're talking about the balls that are red, the chaos that ensues over there, this is the gift that keeps on giving. The narrative, no plot line that will not go away. Against the backdrop, of course, of Christian Horner trying to leverage British financiers with a view to spin off Red Bull Racing Technologies and become the key shareholder, a la a Toto the boy who cried wolf. Christian Horner, as at the 26th of the 4th 2025, is Red Bull Racing CEO, team principal, but he wants desperately to be a shareholder, replicate for the business genius and commercial mind that is Toto. Tried desperately to leverage British financiers with a view to effect for it no-go. And again, that's against the backdrop of fissures between the Austrian branch of Red Bull, the group, the GmbH version of Red Bull, as versus the Tayavija family. They want different things. Charlie Yavija wants to see his adopted son, Christian Horner, stay as team principal and to have success under his stewardship. Oliver Mintzlaff, Mark Mateschitz do not want that. They see all that Christian Horner's done, misconduct allegations, trying to spin off the team. All of that's almost is tantamount to Judas Iscariot behaviour, particularly on the not too distant passing of one Dietrich Mateschitz. Now, all of this would have faded to black under the stewardship of Dietrich. He would have got his arms around it and sorted it out, so well respected. But we know the passing of Dietrich left a big black hole as far as power struggle and decisive strategic decision making. Who makes the decisions around that? Misconduct allegations. Who was there to make it before? It would have been Dietrich. He would have been the Caesar at the gate, and his word would have been the first and the last. But who now? What, Mark Mateschitz? Not really. Does he hold the same sway? Is he as respected as his dad was? Probably not. Same with Oliver Mintzlaff. And that's why ultimately the 51% owners will have the final say as far as these things. And that's why it's so important that Christian Horner curries their favour. However, now, and again, let me say this, you'll recall Jos Verstappen said many moons ago that this team will implode unless they get rid of Christian Horner. We all thought Jos Verstappen was a lunatic then. How very dare you, Jos? I mean, Jostradamus, way to predict the future, Annie, do you know what I mean? And now we hear this. You know, for context, we always hear in the Premier League, football, soccer in North America, every time a manager's on his way out, the board come out to back him and give him a vote of confidence. And inevitably, past his prologue, the next day they get sacked. I feel like this is very, very similar because Oliver Mintzlaff has come out and given an interview to The Build in which he says, I have full confidence in every employee. This also applies to management. What? What are we doing, F1? I don't understand. If you had full confidence in every single employee, why, as an addendum to that sentence even, would he say this also applies to our management team? You know, therefore, the fact that he has to say that by implication, maybe this is a nothing burger, but by implication, I think that means that the circumstance as far as the employees as versus management is very different. Chalk and cheese. And we know that for a fact. We heard Helmut Marko come out and give an interview to 4mil.de, during which he was very, very scathing of Christian Horner. I don't know if Christian Horner knows what we need to do to fix this car. I don't know if he has the personnel around him to fix the car, to give Max Verstappen a car commensurate to challenge for the fifth consecutive championship. This is Helmut Marko talking, not me. And again, he's nothing if not a truth sayer to a fault, some say. Helmut Marko continues. Oliver Mintzlaff of Red Bull GmbH and Christian Horner both want maximum success and subordinate everything to that. Well, what are they subordinating, Oliver, if not their relationship, their rancor and disharmony? Max Verstappen said many cycles ago, there's three things that I need if I'm going to continue, see out my contract at the Bulls that are read through to 2028. Those three things are as follows: a semblance of harmony at the team, the key people to stay, and a car capable of winning championship commensurate to my own talent. The third one, nowhere near. Well, nowhere near is probably not fair. It was quick at Saudi Arabia, but let's see how that translates to a Miami, let's say, or an Imola, or a Spa-Francorchamps. Medium speed is where the litmus test of the delta between Red Bull and McLaren. That's where we'll see. That's where the light of truth will show which one of those cars the Emperor has no clothes. How about the personnel? Gone is Jonathan Wheatley. Gone is Adrian Newey. Do you mean? Gone is Rob Marshall. Gone twice by now is Dan Fallows. Do you know what I mean? Where is the personnel? And where is the semblance of harmony? Therefore, you can rest assured, all is not forgotten, might be forgiven between Jos Verstappen and Christian Horner. Lest we forget, listen, if Toto's after a Verstappen, I hear Jos is available since he won't be driving in the Legends Parade 2024, the Austrian Grand Prix. You'll recall all of that stuff. Do you think Jos Verstappen will forgive and forget? Absolutely flipping. Not those things are going on in the background. And then you come to find out that UK publications can't even talk about the allegation gate anymore, nor can they report on it. There is a reason why. I don't want to get too techie, but you'll understand. I mean, potentially at one point, people rumoured and speculated that the lady accusing Christian Horner of all the allegations could still lodge something in UK courts. All of a sudden, nobody's talking about this. Potentially, nothing's going on in the background. Potentially. Oliver Mintzlaff continues, quote, it should not be forgotten that the two have their 400th race together at the next Grand Prix in Miami. He pointed out, going back to Christian Horner's appointment in 2005. It is clear, therefore, that all the pressure, emotions and passion continues, Oliver Mintzlaff, can sometimes boil up, but then you have to sit down together and discuss it behind closed doors, and that is what we do. Closed doors, Oliver Mintzlaff. Ted Kravitz saw you lot going at it. Raymond Vermeulen, manager of Team Verstappen, going at it. He was arguing, snapping off his lanyard and going at it with one Helmut Marko. Do you know what I mean? As if there were no tomorrow. So what do you mean behind closed doors? You lot go at it hard within the view of the public eye. So what are we talking about here? I think it's chaos at Red Bull. I say all that to say I really think it's chaos, and I think it's rancor, all under the umbrella heading of potentially losing themselves one Maximilian Verstappen. He will go away from that team. It's not as if he'll be searching for a team to sign. Toto is not going to sign King George Russell of Kings Lynn, Norfolk, until he knows the future movements of Maximilian Verstappen. Why would he? George has been brilliant this year. That's the truth. He's barely put a foot wrong, been super consistent, a la an Alain Prost. Points accumulator settings. Props to you, King George. But there is a difference, chap, between yourself and Maximilian Verstappen. Insiders in the paddock hold Maximilian Verstappen as having a delta to the tune of 2 to 3 tenths on average over the other 19 on the grid. Defer to their expertise then. If they're saying that, who am I as a noddy B-spec mind to disagree with them? Marko can go and kick orders. Oh, the humanity. Not bad for a 95-year-old. I'd agree that Max has the third fastest car. says Wayne. Some say, listen, it's quick. It is quick. It is quick around certain tracks, but I don't know. I still feel like Max is putting that car in places where it doesn't necessarily deserve to be, where not too many people on the grid could currently put it. While you guys listen to Shakespeare's F1, I bribed my 5-year-old girls to clean their room for dessert. Let's go, Wayne. Walther, I don't even hate that. Sorry, Walther. I've called you Wayne there because it's gotten techie. Clearly, I need to retire myself and go and spend some time with my little man and my old lady. Reacquaint myself. It's going to be a techie couple of weeks. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. I should go longer most of the time. Saturdays is the proper show, but listen, I got to run. I need to go and eat. You guys have been legends, one and all. Thank you so much for joining Sheen. Between now and next time, same place, same time tomorrow, 10 and 8 p.m. Happy King's Day to all of those who are celebrating. The prosecution rests. No further questions, Your Honour.